Well, hey there, this is Jerry, and I'm bringing you another episode of What's Broke Today. And today we've got, my camera turned down, this is an Earthquake 16-inch rear tine tiller. And tiller, he was out in the garden, or near the garden. He had some dirt hauled in, and while he was out tilling it up, hit a piece of concrete, which stopped it and shut everything down. And I say shut everything down. It stopped it from going forwards, but it still goes backwards. Well, he got the chunk of concrete out. When we went backwards, it ejected it out the back. But still it only goes backwards when you pull the reverse lever. And which tells me the transmission has to still be good, because if it'll go backwards, the only thing it needs to go forwards is the belt. I'm gonna bet the belt's broke. So, and this isn't too bad a belt to change. That need the 10mm socket and a short extension, and then there's just these 3 screws that hold the belt cover on, and we just got to kind of pry it apart a little at the bottom. You can get a grip on it, and it just slides back, and you just throw it out of the way and then pull out your broken belt. And I was suspecting that, so I went ahead and ordered a belt before I took anything apart. And then that lower plate on the bottom of the front, it almost works like a belt keeper, so we got to take it loose, and my big fingers don't fit in there good, but there's 4 bolts holding that cover in place, so we'll just pull them loose, which we can probably get by with just taking the back 2 out, because we just got to drop that cover down just enough to get the belt out around. And luckily it's a little tight, but the bolts will slide out, underneath these wheels. Probably the biggest challenge is getting a hold of the bolts and taking the nuts off, because they're on the inside, getting them slid back. And I guess if you drop the nuts in the washers, that just go to the ground. But hold that up, hold that out, and then that will just rotate down. And then I probably should have ordered both belts, but you don't use the reverse belt much, so I didn't expect it to have really any wear on it. You can reach down underneath and just pull it out, because the reverse belt, they actually run it backwards. So they got what's normally the inside running on the back side of it. And then of course our forward belt, just got to get it down through the hole and around the pulley. And then we got to take our reverse belt and put it back in there, which probably could have got by without taking it all the way off, but I always had a bad habit of wanting to take it all the way off. And you can tell what groove they go in, because the forward belt has its groove, a V groove, and the reverse belt, that pulley on the transmission, is flat. So yeah, once we get that in there, then we gotta get it on the correct side of our belt guides. And this can just come up. Make sure you got it in the groove down below, and then just roll it up on the engine. Well, that looks a little tight. we go. Yeah, so we get that up around there and in place, and then of course we throw our bail down for our forward, and it tightens that belt, which I'm gonna have to back that off a little because you can't pull the bail all the way down. And of course our reverse pulls up good, and then we just gotta lift our cover back up. I think I'll use a pair of needle nose, it'll be easier. Me trying to manipulate this bolt with my fingers isn't real easy. But so we just lift that up and that back through, and then we have our flat washer, our locking nut. I probably need to cut all that viney stuff off. There. Once we get that started, I just gotta Now that looks like our adjustment on our cable up here is, that's probably a 12 wrench, which so loosen that up and then spin that nut back and pull the bail down. That'll be all right. Oh. Now we can take our cover and just slide it up and down around everything. Bolt number 1. Two. And like everything else before we start it, let's check the oil, which it's a little low, but I'm going to change the oil before I send it back anyway, because I don't think he's changed the oil since he got it new. But then, okay, so we come up here and throttle, choke, on. I've got, the wheels are disengaged, so they're not going to drive, but that looks good. now it'll drive. Well, hey, I appreciate you watching this quick episode that, I mean, sometimes it's easy to know what's wrong before you get started, and, you know, that belt, I mean, it just flat ripped it in half, and even here in this one spot, boy, it really did a number. That must have been what was up on the engine pulling, because it sheared some of the cogs off, but looking at the belt, I'd say it was due for replacement anyway, so I'm just glad he didn't hurt anything else on the tiller. That I'm going to finish warming it up, change the oil, and which on this is just got the simple drain plug on the side, so not much to it. But hey, I appreciate you watching this episode, and we always like those thumbs up for the likes, and well, and I got help. Trouble says hi. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for all those comments, and I'll say if you're not a subscriber, join in, because no telling what else you're going to see on What's Broke today, and you can keep tabs on the cats. Say bye, Trouble.